Spyro's an iconic and confusing video game series full of good games and questionable things, but overall beloved by millions. But the story gets kind of weird, more than you could expect for this. So join me as we go through it all and figure it out. Hi everybody, I'm here in Squid Game. No real reason why, I felt like making one of my videos super dated. We're doing that cookie game in a bit, and I thought, hey, if this is it for me, I'm gonna go out talking about Spyro. Let's do that. The biggest challenge of making a Spyro video is that, well, there's no problem. I chose this video in specific because I quite like Spyro, and since this was produced during my college final season, I wanted to treat myself while not struggling with the workload. I just did this one for the love of the game, fellas. In reality, though, it's probably the multiple timelines or continuity thingies. There are 3 Spyros, one for each finger on my left hand. There's Classic Spyro, the DeviantArt one from 2006, and the malformed mammal-like creature with an underdeveloped skull that we all know and love is the rendition of Spyro found in the Skylanders franchise. One that we will not be covering today because I already did that. Go see the Skylanders video after this one if you want to see what that's all about. Regardless, it's a hellhole that I don't need to repeat. For the sake of convenience, we're gonna start at Classic Spyro, the one that everyone intended to be the pure one. Then we'll take a look at the Fur Affinity Spyro games, and then we'll have a dance party ending or something. So let's figure this out first. Is this one or multiple timelines? It's complicated. The magical thing with Spyro is that it's pretty heavily linked to Crash Bandicoot, taking place in a separate universe or dimension. Both of these franchises are represented in Skylanders, either with a separate universe or far in the future, or both. So here's what I've come up with. Basically, Classic Crash and Spyro go on at the same time. Then Legend of Spyro happens. Then Skylanders and Skylanders Academy, where Academy's treated like a parallel story where there's small differences like Chaos attacking earlier in the timeline and Crash can talk, dubbing this as Academy Crash. Also from another universe, regardless on how you look at it, separate universes or dimensions are canon to these sibling franchises, and like, I just kind of appreciate believing this Spyro things all happen to be on the same timeline. I like the idea of treating this like a Legend of Zelda thing with Ancestry being part of this. In terms of locations, Spyro's home consists of what's claimed as a world, but in actuality seems to be like a collection of floating land masses. I could see this being like a Pangea equivalent to the Skylands of Skylanders. There's a few realms, probably over 7 realms, but each could possibly be interpreted as separate clusters or bunches of Skylands that get classified under a single kingdom. So roughly over 1,000 years before the events of the first games, all dragons lived under the rule of the sorceress in a realm. This rotten, no good, evil looking dragon tails ass trait kinda just sucks as a person a lot. Not really a person everyone's content with, more like a miserable person who somehow managed to find themselves in a position of leadership. One day she gets into an argument with a dragon elder about being a good person or whatever. The sorceress gets so mad, she banishes him and all other dragons to the opposite end of the world, like as far as she can remove them, and fully becomes the sole ruler. Her area of rule would then be dubbed the Forgotten Realms, where things get worse. See, dragons are the primary source of magic at this time. They are necessary in the creation of portals that allow respective citizens to transport from every landmass. And over the next millennium, the sorceress realized that her magic was missing, and everything was gonna fall apart if she didn't come up with something. But the dragons don't care. They're doing great on their own. They're peaceful protectors, establishing their new home as the Dragon Realms, forgetting the sorceress and the Forgotten Realms entirely. That's like no shade. Truly, the only major conflict that we have seen since then comes from this enemy species called the Norks. They seem to have also been existing in the Dragon Realms, caused a lot of pain to the dragons. To give an idea, like a new generation of dragons is supposed to be born every 12 years, I think. Yeah, the year of the dragon, Dragonfly, with the help of dragons, fairies. It's a big deal. I might be wrong about that. I think I am. And we don't see any young dragons other than Spyro in the first couple games. The assumption could just be the Norks are so mean to everyone, they don't have time to generate more children. And these blue thieves enemies, they just snatch up anything deemed of value, and that includes dragon eggs. If I were to guess, they were eaten. Maybe it's like eating caviar, but dragon babies. And the worst threat of them all, Nasty Nork. He's so bad, the dragons banished him to like a junkyard where he rots to this day. So now the dragons, after like a millennia of a diminishing population and civilization, still with plenty of magic, takes us to the first point of September 9th, 18 AS. AS standing for after Spyro. I'm assuming Classic Spyro is roughly the age of a young adult, but regardless of the year, it is modern-ish technology. Dragons can live for thousands of years. It kind of doesn't matter otherwise. Plus, with Skylanders characters being toys to life and basically confirmed being connected to our time points in 2011 onward. Regardless, it doesn't matter. I'm stupid. Just like one thing I gotta bring up, because I know someone in the comments is gonna try to bitch about it. As far as I'm concerned, the original PS1 games and the Reignited trilogy are interchangeable in this section. Like, there's no major changes in this continuity other than everyone looking like can openers in the original. I mean, look at them. The mere sight of these early 3D models are giving me mild paper cuts. This is Spyro. He's purple, he has a dragonfly buddy named Sparks, and pretty freely roams around the Dragon Realms as a little guy. We love him. Life is looking pretty good in the Dragon Kingdom. Everyone's been in harmony for years. Things are looking up. On a TV interview with some dragons in the Artisan realm, they keep shit-talking Nasty Nork on live TV yeah, he's pretty upset about that. Launching a full kingdom attack that turns all the dragons into crystals, and they're still alive in there. They still feel being trapped in the crystal realms. He then steals all their treasure, returns, and begins his proper invasion of the realms. Now, with all due respect, why didn't you do this earlier? Why do you just have the power to instantly defeat the majority of your enemies and then you just let this happen? I couldn't tell you. Spyro's got to save the day though. From here on, very simple. Recover treasure and dragon eggs across the realms. Free the dragons, head over to Nasty's place, beat him to a rubbery puddle of sadness, get all the dragon stuff back, and the 100% completion just ends with him doing it all over again. All of this was for nothing. Did Nasty just figure out he had the instant crystal spell with no cooldown? If there's infinite ammo for it, then why aren't you using this at every available moment? I feel like this is incredibly overpowered. I don't know. Spyro's a little idiot, just like you for not using this next thing I gotta talk about. This video is sponsored by Rocket Bunny. Fellas, I used to budget with spreadsheets and I wasn't too fond of it. It created complications, exhausting nights, and a few organizational problems that didn't jive with me. But that all went away when I started using Rocket Money, the personal finance app that allows you to manage subscriptions, lower bills, make a custom budget, and grow your savings, all in one place. For example, I personally use Rocket Money to make budgets and save money. Within seconds, you can see where your money is going, the top spending categories, and any upcoming subscriptions you may or may not recognize as being charged to your account. I'm noticing a change with my savings, and a lot of users are as well. Customers have been saving up to $740 a year using the app's premium features, and they've also helped customers save over 880 million in canceled subscriptions. To save more and spend less, join over 10 million members using Rocket Money today. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code up here right up in the corner so you can get started for free. And thank you again to Rocket Money for sponsoring today, which helps out the channel. And now back to the video. November 2nd, 19 AS, Ripto's Rage. So alongside the Dragon and Forgotten Realms, we also gotta remember Avalar. This being a different land, culturally more or less the same other than the extreme lack of dragons. So 1 week before this game happens, October 26, 19 AS, three little characters are working on building a portal without magic. There's the Professor, he's a little guy. His name is his character, he's no better than a filthy smurf. Then there's Alora, she's a fun, very nice young woman, very respectful. I have no quarrels with Alora, she's very nice. And then there's Hunter. I don't like Hunter. He looks like he's looking for the promised land. He looks like a monster. I don't think Spyro should be around Hunter. I'm scared of him. But then the remake one looks like he plays Overwatch for fun. Both of these designs give me an equal amount of ick. When testing the portal, Hunter decides to put his birthday in as the coordinates as a portal to link up with. I'm not even gonna question the science with that one, but out comes Ripto. He's small, he's got some goons, no, not that other kind. Smells that no dragons exist in Avalar, takes over the realm, and just to mitigate it from being worse, Alora gets her fairy pals to hide the magic gems needed to close the portal, and for a straight week, Ripto's just been a real dick to all the residents. So back to Spyro, back to a week later, he's a little tired of being a hero or playing in the fields or, I don't know, eating cookies and drinking lemonade, whatever he does. He wants to go to the beach and runs into the portal that's supposed to take him to the beach, the Dragon Shores, and then he doesn't, he gets sent to Avalar and he has to save him. Spyro is a better man than me. I'd be pretty pissed right here. Another simple enough quest, collect some orbs, some talisman, eventually defeat Ripto's goons and Ripto himself, where in this extremely short period of time, he's managed to take over Avalar through... Wait, no, how did he manage to do that with so few resources? Important to bring this up as well, but he's managed to make some of the citizens of Avalar oppose each other, attack one another, especially moneybags, who literally will refuse entry in major locations just because he can until he gets money. He sickens me with greed. It will be his demise. I wish this man could feel the pain of being a dog toy of a German Shepherd or something. What a despicable act of nature. I hate him. And then the game ends. Spyro goes on a vacation like he originally wanted to, as all his new friends friends stay back and fix up some of the destruction that Ripto caused. And then after that, Hunter's gonna live in the Dragon Realm with Spyro. That's literally like the last thing I want to hear. Like Elora and Spyro have a romance thingy brewing or whatever. But yeah, no, Spyro gets to hang out with the creature whose head looks like a pistachio. And what body type is this? October 10th, 20 AS, Year of the Dragon. After like over 4 years of rotting and losing the magic in their realm after becoming enemies with virtually the entire population found there, the sorceress finally decides to make a move. This is Bianca. This is the apprentice of the sorceress and learning how to do magic. She's tasked with going to the Dragon Realm one night on the Year of the Dragon and stealing all the dragon eggs in hopes of restarting a magic empire. So Bianca and this new species under the sorceress's rule, the Rhinox, managed to do that. And this is just another major problem because like it's the Year of the Dragon. It's the thing where all the new dragons are born and we gotta go get those freaking eggs, dude. So Spyro, Sparks, and Hunter, again, no idea why he's not an Avalar. The gang all go through this burrow system to the realm. Same Spyro antics, rescue some randoms across the adventure that'll become playable companions. Moneybags gets hired to watch these prisoners, but like he folds at the thought of money. And then eventually Sorceress is gonna freaking die, but the main plot worth noticing here, weirdly enough, comes from Hunter. He manages to convince Bianca to swap sides. Little love plot starts brewing. Look at him, look at her. It was meant to be. It's so funny to me because like after the post game of Spyro 3, it's just looking for Hunter after he mysteriously disappears. And the professor and Elora show up, they're useless. But then at the end, Spyro accidentally sees Hunter having like a genuine romantic core memory with the potential love of his life, having a lot of personal development, and Spyro just looks in shame and looks at Sparks and he said something like, wait, what the fuck? So I mean, from here on, I can't really say if these games are good or not. They're wildly inconsistent the same way Crash is. It's just that like for some reason it was harder to progress this to be more good or even better, good or possibly maybe yes. November 7th, 21 AS, Season of Ice. This is Grendor. Why is he the villain? Spyro and Sparks go on a vacation with Hunter and Bianca. Suddenly, a fairy named Zoe, didn't really have any other place to say it, but Zoe's the checkpoint fairy for Spyro and most of the other games, tells them that Grendor is trying to steal all the fairies in their unnamed vacation land. And then also, Bianca left her spellbook in a library that Grendor used, but read it the wrong way, and it accidentally gave him 2 heads, and it just pissed him off, and now he's super bad headaches, and he's trying to use the fairies as a potential cure. Spyro does the whole Spyro thing he does, defeats Grendor, Zoe cures the freak. This is supposed to be a rhino. Immediately after the vacation, the 5th game of Spyro's lineage, Spyro 2, the Season of Flame. In this second game, that's the second game, Spyro comes home from the vacation he just had. The Dragon Realms have been entirely taken over by more Rhinox, so go stop them. One thing important to note here is the reliance on bugs for the dragons. Almost in the same way that realms needed dragons to produce magic, fireflies let dragons breathe fire and do other powers. In this game, Ripto steals them, Spyro saves them all, but it's important to emphasize that you cannot let anything happen to the bugs of this land. And the dragons will have no powers. And can you guess what happens next game? November 5th, 24 AS, Enter the Dragonfly. No thanks, I'd rather not. In fact, I'd rather not do anything with this game. Do you see it? This is a straight to DVD movie, but somehow a video game? This thing's so ugly. Everyone looks like these bouncing blobs of horror. It's warming and uncanny at the same time. This is when I realized Bianca's ears were facing the wrong way. And Hunter, how did you pull her? How did you pull her? How did you do it? Your body looks like all the water in it was replaced with crayon wax. How did you do it? In terms of why everyone looks like this, best thing I could come up with is that one commercial where Ty the Tasmanian Tiger hospitalizes Crash, Spyro, and Sonic. That's my headcanon as to why everyone got redesigns. Like, Spyro looks fine enough, but you know, I guess there's some chemicals in the air. New info about dragons, but after a few years, the baby ones are meant to get Dragonfly partners as they permanently enhance their strength when together. That's why Spyro has Sparks. And today is the day all the babies born from the last game, the third PlayStation one, get their own one until Ripto's back, snatches them all up. Go get him. That's it. That's the game. I never want to look or think about this one again. In 2003 or October 28th, 25 AS, Attack of the Rhinox again? Why are the Rhinox being treated like the main villain of the franchise? What's the point of these things? And another time, I'm so confused, dude. Spyro's visiting the professor in Avalar. Shows Spyro and Sparks this camera thingy that lets them spy on whoever they want, but they also have like this giant bear butler that's cool, but it malfunctions and Spyro has to lure it into a generator, break the super camera machine, the thing that creates a black hole. Oh my god, that's gonna kill everyone. The only solution is this new resource called Hearts that can apparently stop black holes. Professor is about to give Spyro a device to fast teleport and collect them all, but nope. Ripto comes up and steals them. He needs to die, but he keeps coming back. Save the day, close the black hole. Notice how Rhinox weren't once mentioned in this rundown. Why did you even name it that? June 1st, 26 AS, Spyro Orange. Ripto has been delegated to the main Spyro villain. Friendly reminder, Nasty North's just out there somewhere, probably hanging out with Gwimbly or something. So he teams up with Dr. Neo Cortex from Crash, and they like make a scheme to take over their respective lands and making sure their respective enemies mistake each other as threats. It's kind of cool having a larger story with separating POVs. I just wish this was used on a console game or something better, or better yet, putting all of your resources on consistently good console games instead of just a bunch of C's. You know, C's get degrees, but that doesn't give you a good long-lasting franchise. Spyro and Crash fight. They become friends. They have a card collecting gimmick that looks very stupid. I don't know. I saw a Kadikarus video that I'm not playing this game. And then they agree to become allies in the situation of any future threats. Very simple, very fine, whatever. Honestly, I wish a little more was done with Crash and Spyro as a pairing. They seem so perfect for each other. They would be best friends. Instead, it's mostly delegated to cameos and spin-offs and whatever, and that's fine. I just, you know, maybe a little more. Ideally, we get that in the future. We can get something that combines the best elements from both worlds. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. I have some thoughts on that. November 6th, 26 AS, A Hero's Tale. They're trying so hard to make him look cool. So one of two things happen off screen, and both are stupid. Nasty Nork finally returns when he's revived from the dead. We didn't kill him. Well, I mean, we did, but also like Ripto got better. Why is this one considered a death? Alternatively, it happened off screen, which is equally stupid. I feel bad if he died from old age. I don't know. He's back now, and Hunter's got eyebrows, so good for him. He got revived thanks to this new dragon, Red. Former dragon elder, full of hate and bad vibes and the determination to destroy all those who oppose him. The professor sees this through a cool device or whatever, and we can just say it was the device from Attack of the Rhinox, and now Spyro needs to destroy Red's main source of power, Dark Gems. Across the journey, it's a lot of the same. Hunter's back, Sergeant Bird, one of the buddies from the last game, comes back. Professor has a nephew, Blink. The general idea and cycle of this game is really stopping the Nork forces and obtaining new abilities through the Dragon Titans that used to be friends with Red, where all of them just go like, oh yeah, he was a good guy until he went bad. Now he does bad things. We should kill him. There's a lot to take in here, weirdly enough. Like, first off, Hunter looks very visually bearable. So that's, you know, that's a plus. Always good to see. The Professor seems to be fully living in Avalar now, and not Alora though, for some reason, even though I feel like out of everyone, she would want to live with the purple little high school mascot looking critter we know and love. There's some new dragons, and not just like generic elder ones to give guides, even though we have them. I'm talking about like Spyro-sized ones. First off, Ember. This is a pink one that wants to marry Spyro and is also pink and also a girl. You can tell because she's pink and she is a girl because that is the girl color. This character appears for 20 seconds, and then there's Flame. That's just a red Spyro. Why would you make this? Do I have anything else to say about this game? No, not really. Feels like a proper next-gen Spyro game, though. It has the vibes I would imagine in this type of game over the last one. Go away. I just see it as another proper continuation, and it just ends with the typical traditional Spyro game. Vacation time! So right after that, like immediately after the vacation of Hero's Tale, Spyro's supposed to go train at the Dragon Temple after the beach. He falls asleep, and some big old storm covers Dragon Realms, Forgotten Realms, and Avalar, taking all of them to the Shadow Realm. Though it's not that bad. It has some unique shadow monsters that are objectively a concern, but otherwise, it's livable. Main villain is this guy named the Sorcerer. He looks like Yertle the Turtle. He's supposed to be a dragon, though. Spyro is given a simple goal. The thought of another day on the beach eludes and motivates him. He gets the Shadow Stone, learns the art of Dragon Kata, discovers how this all even happened. Red showed up even though at the end of the last game he was shrunk. I guess he got better. And then, apparently, Red was only a pawn to a bigger enemy of the Sorcerer. So to clarify, the original villain of the first game was the pawn to the new big bad, who's a pawn to a newer big bad, exclusive on a top-down DS game. Does that make sense? I don't know. Out of all games, Spyro feels the most like a fan fiction. This is such a weird choice to me. But Red becomes good, helps take down the Sorcerer. It's kind of cool how interconnected the villains have become to one another. It feels like these games celebrate their histories often enough. It's nice to see. The game ends, leave Shadow Realm, prepare for the return of the Sorcerer. Okay, so next up, this is a weird one. November 12th. 12th, 26 AS. No exaggeration or anything here. The entire plot of this one is, I shit you not, stop Rhino, find 4 parts of the professor's machine to do that. To be fair, this is a mobile game quite literally called Ripto Quest that released in 2004. The point still stands, and this is simple. 1 year later, August 27th AS, another mobile game. The sorcerer does in fact return, bans all dragons to the Shadow Realm again, and so Spyro has to learn martial arts to save everyone. It's the same plot as Shadow Legacy. It's a port. At this point, I feel myself numbing. I feel like it'd be nice to have some more complexity, you know? I wish Spyro had more stuff, more story essence going on that was worth building up and talking about. I just heard a monkey paw curl. Yeah, so that mobile game, that was the final classic Spyro game that isn't a remake. It's time for Legend of Spyro, that weird middle child that isn't the iconic classic one or the multi-billion-dollar one that looks like it contracted some sort of ancient disease. This is the one where I'm more or less confused, I guess, to say the least. This is technically a reboot. It's less silly, more focused on attempting to tell a story that is about like legacy and whatnot. The dragons here are actually treated like proper legends, and there is backstory, but it's not like, whoa, Spyro's a good guy doing good because he can. It's more like he's destined for greatness, a legendary creature who will save us all. He's also voiced by Elijah Wood. Like, let's start the timeline at I don't even know anymore. Years don't matter here. It's the 0. It's the year of the dragon, and the purple dragon born once every 10 generations has arrived. Y'all already know who this is. Prophecy, important, must be alive. This is Malefor, also referred to as the Dark Master. He is bad and not friends with the dragons. He's beloved by all. There's a religion surrounding him, but he is evil. He has endless power, so why not take everything over? The elder dragons aren't too fond of that idea and banish him from their kingdoms. And Malefor actually has a known origin story thanks to this guy, the Chronicler, whose entire existence has been documenting all of history for thousands and thousands of years. God damn, that sucks. Malefor was the first purple dragon. He was worshipped by dragons, moles, and cheetahs alike. As he quickly learned and mastered each element dragons are capable of producing: fire, ice, wind, electricity. He even gets another one called Aether, exclusive to the purple ones. Began to master the darkness and bad vibes without being lost to it. Closest comparison would be like a magical dragon version of Venom and Eddie Brock. He tries making a base of operations, starts getting an army, brings the world into utter chaos, while also trying to steal and harness the gems of the land that are allegedly vital for dragons to continue living. And eventually Malefor is somehow defeated by the dragon's ancestry, banishing him into the Convexity. This being an in-between realm where he's unable to properly attack, but he's still there, you know? It's just that now his army and operations are being controlled by this guy, Ape King Gaul. The dragons are in danger, knows about the prophecy, tries attacking the temple and the 4 guardians responsible for protecting the egg. Guardians here being the dragon equivalent of monks. They carry forth traditions and are really the final dragons remaining since most other dragons died to Malefor's forces. The red one, Ignatius, sneaks Spyro out and lets his egg go down the river like Moses. Now, during his invasion of the temple, he does manage to abduct at least one other egg, that being Cinders. Gaul decides that Cinder is going to be the dragon that'll free Malefor from the Convexity and allow for a proper world takeover, because apparently only dragons born in the year of the dragon have the power to open the seal and whatnot. She was tortured and transformed by the darkness, eventually rapidly aging into an adult dragon with the sole purpose of getting Malefor free. In order to do that, she's got to steal some gems from each of the 4 dragon guardians, Ignatius once again being the only one able to escape from this fate and prolonging Cinder's plans. And while she rose this way, Spyro was dicking around in the swamps in a dragonfly family where he's best friends with Sparks, who's like an alien humanoid creature that frightens me if I look at it for too long. The Legend of Spyro: A New Beginning, which, like, again, this feels like fanfiction. This doesn't feel real. Spyro and Sparks discover, hey, wait a second, Spyro can breathe fire. That's not what dragonflies do. Wow. Spyro goes to seek out his origins and discovers Ignatius. He's given a simple task and objective: go stop Cinder. And so Spyro chases her across the lands, eventually finds the remaining guardians and stops Cinder just before she opens up the portal, which turns her back to a normalish form. Escape the Convexity, game's over. Weeks later, the Eternal Night. How do you take this box art seriously? This is just oozing with Warrior Cat's young adult novel energy. Spyro temporarily loses his powers along with Cinder, but since escaping the event of the last game, has just been looking for her. She's simply trying to find herself. She's trying to find the optimal solution to being a right-hand man to a super dictator of a former god person everybody despises with a burning passion. Spyro has a vision, and after Malefor's ape army tries attacking the Dragon Temple, is tasked with finding a cool-looking tree along with the Chronicler, who's been rotting away in a public library or something. Spyro's adventures will see him being abducted by pirates, stumbling upon the Chronicler, learning about Malefor's full story, running into Ape King Gaul once again, and kills him when Spyro turns into Dark Spyro when a lunar alignment happens. That's stupid. Beware of Oh, Dark Spyro. Nah, that lasts about 12 minutes. Cinder saves Spyro. Mountain starts to collapse. Spyro makes a bold decision, trapping him, Cinder, and Sparks, who's also here, into like Amber, I think, to protect them from the collapsing environment surrounding them. And that leaves us with only 3 years later in Dawn of the Dragon. The gang gets freed from their super prison. They've all aged, I guess. They weren't conscious during the entrapment, but they were like still growing. Also, this is the first time we've seen anything adjacent to a more adult Spyro. I don't know the exact age, but you know what? His design across this reboot rubbed me in a weird way this whole time. I don't know how else to describe it other than I can imagine Spyro wearing flannel, if that makes sense. Please tell me that I'm not saying stupid nonsense like I always do. This Spyro would absolutely rock a Midwestern flannel button-up. Malfoy traps Spyro and Cinder together in this green beam thingy. They gotta be at least like 100 feet from each other at all times. It's like some sort of reversed restraining order. Malfoy's magically been able to create an artificial army now. They're called the Grublins. Oh no! Oh shit, Hunter. Hi, how you doing, Hunter? I don't know which one of these designs I prefer. One looks like a frisbee, the other looks like a thirst trap. Neither of which I want in my vicinity. One looks too alive, one looks no different than a frightened deer staring at headlights of a Dodge Ram as it gets obliterated from this plane of reality. This Hunter reveals that somehow Malfoy has returned. That probably should stop happening, methinks. Another relatively repeated but logical plot, just trying to stop Malfoy's forces. His dark crystals. Ignatius actually sacrifices himself so everyone can get into Malfoy's lair. Sacrifices himself. Malfoy is pretty chill at first, not going at it straight for the jugular or anything, but trying to corrupt Cinder again so the dragons can kill each other by their own hands, and he can just watch while eating pretzels off the ground or something. It fails, obviously. He gets really insecure about being a purple idiot and is simply defeated by the power of friendship and the power of the dragon ancestors, because all the deceased dragons still live on an afterlife plane. They still hate Malfoy though. Lock him back up, the adventure is over. And you know what? If a pocket dimension wasn't enough to imprison him, he's gotta go to the core of the planet. The world is falling apart by the sheer might of Malfoy. Spyro and Cinder are not only able to bring Ignatius back to life through the power of love, but are able to save the planet. That's right, they love each other, even in Dragonland. And when I say love, I mean romantic love. Wow, good for Spyro. I'm sure all the stupid children playing this game clapped their baby hands together when this happened and then went straight back to reading Of Mice and Men for their 4th grade reading class. But overall, these 3 games, I can tell they were made for a specific group of people who read Warrior Cats. I'm not even saying that someone who hates Warrior Cats. I'm just like, they're right next to each other, you can tell. And now the thing is done. Chroniclers says a new age is upon the world, makes Ignatius the new historian person, goes on a well-deserved vacation to Dragon Shores probably, and Spyro and Cinder end this saga together, flying over Avalar. No chain binding them together other than their affection for each other. I have no idea what happens to Sparks and Hunter after this. As far as I'm concerned, they got him. And that was the last game released in 2008. We still have plenty of new Spyro stuff to cover, like the Skylanders saga. Just kidding. I told you, I already made a new video on that. You can watch that next. Or what about the Crash Bandicoot crossovers? Nope, made a video on that as well. They have just been reduced to spin-off DLC characters. And then you have the Reignited trilogy. That's exactly what it sounds like. It's a remake of the first few games. Then there was that canceled Crash Spyro crossover game. Not even a bit. This is just very unfortunate, and I'm very upset about this. I cannot believe this game didn't get made. But that is, give or take, the franchise. Nothing on the horizon other than a Spyro 4 that I guarantee you will eventually get announced and make this video fully obsolete. I am recording this before the Game Awards. If anything gets announced at the Game Awards, I'm going to move on with my life. Spyro is, to say the least, a complicated franchise. Like, it isn't bad, not at all. It's just that it very much feels like a franchise that's weird to consider how truly popular it is. Like, the character, regardless of interpretation, is objectively a forgotten icon for millions of people, most of which from Skylanders, but still, it was never really about the story, more just having cool games about funny dragons. I just wish the consistency and popularity was something still there, and maybe Spyro can get picked back up somehow. Ideally not through another Crash Bandicoot game, but something fully new. I'm fully under the belief Spyro 4 is around the corner. This franchise is inconsistent, sometimes aimless and sometimes romantic. That part I was never gonna expect in a series like this, but that's all. That is Spyro. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what's next. Well, guys, it's Dalgona time. Be sure to subscribe, even if you think you are. Just check to be safe, please. It goes a long way. Gamersubs code Choopo. Check out my merch. Don't forget to floss. And here we go. Cookie time. Are you kidding me? Dude. I got former president of Argentina, Carlos Menem.